Hey there guys, Raj here, and you may not be expecting to see me so soon. If you hadn't seen my last video, just to give you a quick recap, I said that I was going to come back onto YouTube in January, in the new year. However, I don't know, I just had a feeling that, I'm kind of ready to come back and make YouTube videos, and instead of waiting until the new year, I'm back now. Um, so yeah, it was just the kind of feeling I had. I felt pretty good. I had some good ideas for videos. I was getting back into fragrances. And the video that I did before the last one was actually back in June. So from now, and since June until now, I haven't put out any content. So I was kind of like itching to get back. It's been just over a month since I did my last video, but I'm definitely back now, and I've got a lot of good content. Hopefully, you'll find it good to come out over the next few months. I've been recording a few videos. I'm gonna do a few more today and maybe later on. So I've got a lot of content lined up over the next few weeks. So yeah, I'm back, and that's the future in terms of what's coming out. What's the purpose of this video? Well, this is just more of just a conversational video, to be honest. It might go on for a bit of time, so you might want to make yourselves comfortable, get a drink, get a cup of tea, sit down, and yeah, what I'm going to be talking about in this video is I'm going to be reflecting on my time here on YouTube as a fragrance reviewer. In January 2020, it would have been 8 years since I started my channel as a fragrance reviewer, which is quite a long time, and so much has happened since then on YouTube and just in my life. And I wanted to look back at my time on YouTube, and I made a few bullet points here, which I don't do actually nowadays. In the past, I used to make notes, like actually write down notes when I was talking about fragrances. Now it's just off the top of my head, to be honest. Whatever comes out, comes out. So yeah, I'm going to be talking about when I first started out, certain reviewers, going to stores, meeting other reviewers, meeting subscribers also, which has happened, fragrance collecting, controversy, how YouTube is now and my thoughts on the current status, subscriptions and views, why I review, and the future. So those are the bullet points. Let's start off with number one. First, starting out. So yeah, I first started out because one day I wanted to buy a bottle of. I'm 90% sure this is the story. I mean, it's going back a while, so I can't be 100% sure, but 90%. I was looking for a fragrance, L'Odyssée by Issey Miyake. Went onto Google, typed it in, and one of the Google searches was a reviewer. He's still around, Canadian guy, Mark Robes08. And I watched his review and I thought to myself, why is somebody talking about fragrances on YouTube? This is like a really, really strange thing for me. And I'm sure there are many people who might still think the same way when they come across videos of this fragrance community. But there was something kind of intriguing about it, and I watched all of Mark's videos and a lot of the people who were around at the time. And after a few months, I thought to myself, you know what, let me give this a shot. I'm kind of getting into fragrances myself. And so yeah, everything was like very, very exciting, and just going out there and putting your content out there to the world and seeing people react, and also just sharing information and absorbing information from other people was kind of cool, and I really, really enjoyed it. And I've been on this YouTube since then. It's quite a long time. It's quite a long time, but there definitely are other reviewers who are around nowadays who were there before me, or joined YouTube around the same time. And so off the top of my head, these are the reviewers who I wanted to give just a very, very quick shout out to, because these guys are, as far as I'm aware, still around now, and they either joined at the same time as me or they had joined YouTube before me. And so those people I've made a note of them, and the first one, unfortunately, is no longer around. So while I was on my break from YouTube, I heard about the news of Dan, my Mickers, and that was a really tough one because he was a channel I really respected, I really admired. I watched his video all the time and it always left you with a smile on your face. A few months ago I did a review talking about my favorite reviewers. I did put all my favorite reviewers into a randomizer and selected them, and Dan was one of them, and I spoke about him. And there's been some really nice memorial tribute videos that have come out. And just from my perspective, Dan, he commented on my first video. He sent me samples of oud and grey flannel. And I remember doing a video with Lupe, the Lupe Experience. We did a little collaboration video where we just went through all of these Dan's samples. And I've still got them. I might have to spray one on actually just to think about him. And what a positive guy he was. Very, very concise videos. His videos more recently, or over the past few years, became a lot more concise, and he brought his family onto it, and it was very it had a real good feel-good factor. So Dan, you definitely will be missed. Other reviewers off the top of my head who are still around, I mentioned Mark Robes08, Al from Street Sense, Christo, all the way when he started in Indonesia, Stephen from Redolescence, coming out with his own line now, Fragrance Bros, or just one part of the Fragrance Bros, Dave, Cody, Drakdog, who I've actually met about 3 times actually, once in London, twice in New York. He's on a bit of a hiatus. There's Eric from Centrifugal Force, love his energy. Coach Rob 619, he's come out with some good content recently. Tim Toons, and he's been around since he was a really young guy. And also Brad from BP Wool. He's been the most prolific guy in terms of making videos, and he's still around. So it's good to see these people are still putting out content. A lot of people aren't anymore. And so I just wanted to give a shout out to those people. If I've missed out anyone who is still reviewing since that time, they're still reviewing now, then let me know. But I just wanted to give a mini shout out to those guys, because a lot of them I watched before getting into this whole thing, and I watch them now. So so I started off this whole fragrance hobby, and it kind of coincided with me getting my first job. So obviously you're earning a little bit more, and I was in a part of London which was kind of near to Oxford Street and Regent Street, which, if you know, London is the hub of shopping basically. You've got the big department stores there, and every time I left work, I used to sometimes pop into these stores, and I was just coming across all these brands who I'd never heard of, Serge Luton, and getting into the Guerlains and Tom Ford's Private Blend, designer exclusive lines, the Chanel's, Frederic Malle, excuse me. Yeah, and just discovering all these brands, and it was so exciting. And I kind of don't get that level of excitement anymore, because once you've tried so much, you don't become as impressed as you used to be. But I still love it. I still love discovering new brands, But it was really exciting, and it really opened up my eyes to what was out there. I always say to people now that we have a sort of it's a chemist, but it's more than a chemist. It's like a chain called Boots, and I always say to people, there is more to fragrances than what you find in Boots. And I still buy fragrances from Boots. Well, not recently, but I have in the past a lot. So it's good for designer stuff, and I still try designer stuff, but it's good to get out there and figure out the world of niche and indie and oils, and man, it's one hell of a rabbit hole I've fallen down, and a lot of us have. So it was super exciting, and I used to check out all the other smaller shops. The brands had their own shops. L'Artisan Parfumeur used to have their own shop. Miller Harris, Roger Parfum now has his own one. I've been to Paris to see the Guerlain boutique. And it was so cool. Harrods have obviously an amazing department store, Fortnum & Mason. And I really felt that London is the best place in the world to buy fragrances. And I've been to Paris a few times, and I think it's amazing. Paris is amazing, and maybe I'm being a little bit biased towards London. I've been to New York as well. I've checked out the fragrance scene there as much as I could. Or I certainly know there were some stores I didn't get a chance to visit to, but London, I say, is the best because in such a small concentrated area, we have everything that you could like desire. Really, it's really, really amazing. I don't take it for granted. And you know, I still get excited going out and trying out new things and just getting lost in all these new releases, and some of them are disappointing, but sometimes when you find that gem, it really reignites your whole fire for this whole crazy thing that we're into, fragrances, you know. And so next thing on the topic is meeting reviewers, and I'm also going to say meeting subscribers as well. I'm going to mention reviewers first. I've met quite a few reviewers over the years, and it's always quite a surreal experience to see somebody who is in front of a camera, but then you actually see them face to face. And you know, I may miss out a few people on this list, so apologies if we've met and I miss you out. But you know, I've met up with a lot of UK reviewers. You know, there's Greg from Greggy Boy 76. There's Dan from Mr. Smelly. One half of Wasp from the Loft. Claire, Smurfy Girl. Wasim from Handsome Smells. There were a couple of other reviewers who have actually don't make reviews anymore, but so I won't mention them because they're not around. But I've met those guys. I've met Chad and Neela from Canada. I've met Cody a couple of times, once, and his wife Becky when he came to London, and also I went to New York a couple of times last year for work actually, and so I managed to meet with him, which was really, really cool. Who else have I met? There was also, when Chad came down, there was a guy called Prince Ty, who, to be honest, I don't really know much about, or didn't know much about then, but it was nice to meet him. And I'm sure I'm missing off somebody, and I'm going to probably offend somebody, but who else? There's a few others in there. I'm sure there's a few others in there. But yeah, I'm always up for meeting reviewers because you kind of feel like you kind of know them, kind of. Like you see them talk about fragrances, and really you see their personality come through, limited to the world of fragrances, shall we say. But it's always nice to like find out what they're really like in person. And you know, also, even though I don't like go out my way to meet subscribers, like I wouldn't if a subscriber messaged me saying, "Hey, let's meet." Typically, I wouldn't do it, you know, just putting it out there. But I have randomly met people who recognize me, which is really strange because I don't have the biggest channel. And so it's happened to me about, I don't know, like 7 or 8 times. I've been in a department store, and somebody who's working in the department store recognized me. I've been recognized on the train, outside the train station. One time I was on the phone and a guy came up to me and said, "Are you Raj?" So if you're watching, hi. Sorry we didn't get a chance to speak, but it's so kind of strange actually when it happens, but always quite, I suppose, quite flattering, you know. And sometimes when those people have worked in stores, I've met them and they've been quite generous actually with giving me samples. There was a guy who I met recently in Fortnum and Mason, Benjamin, I believe is your name. If you're watching, hello, it was really good to talk to you. And he hooked me up with a bunch of Xerjoff samples. So that was really, really nice. I really appreciated that. So that's kind of cool, you know. So fragrance collecting. So when I first got into this, man, I was going crazy. I was really, really going crazy. And like when I think about it now, on the salary that I was on then and what I'm on now, it's mad to think that I was buying more back then. And I was getting a lot of stuff on the Facebook groups and stuff like that. But I had like 120 fragrances back in the day. Now I've got about 25, I think I've got. So I've whittled it down quite a lot. But, you know, we all get that, what's it called? Like dopamine, or that feel-good factor, that drug, that chemical that goes around your body. Going into the shop, buying it, unwrapping it. Sometimes the search for a fragrance is the most thrilling part. And especially when it's like something that is maybe hard to find, or maybe it's expensive and you've saved up a bit. It's always a great feeling. And spraying it on for the first time, wearing it for the first time, from the full bottle. You know, something about owning that full-size bottle. I can't have a collection of decants. I have to have full-size bottles, you know. But after a while, you know, I kind of chilled out a little bit, and now I've actually bought quite a few fragrances recently. Like my collection this year certainly has grown quite a lot. And in fact, maybe towards the early part of next year, I might have to do another collection video. And I've done a few collection videos in the past. You can click on playlists on my channel and have a look. But yeah, you know, I've been buying a few things recently, and you'll see like some haul videos come out soon. So yeah, you know, like people have gone like and amassed huge collections, like hundreds and hundreds and thousands of bottles. For me, I never wanted to go down that path, and I would say to people, do what is comfortable to you. I want to wear my fragrances, every single one. I don't want them to collect dust. I don't want them to get lost, and I don't want to spend like a fortune anymore. So, you know, I have a good collection now, and I think you have to be in control as much as you can. I think that's the best way for me anyway. Right, we're getting controversial now. Next up on the next bullet point is controversy. Now, I've been fairly lucky actually on YouTube. You know, YouTube is associated with trolls and getting troll-like comments, and sometimes it can turn quite nasty. I've been fairly lucky that I haven't really received like bad comments. Maybe 2 or 3, and even the ones that I received kind of stand out like as kind of funny. You know, one guy told me to shove a bottle of whatever it was up my ass, which was, you know, I thought really hilarious. There's one guy told me I have absolutely no idea what I'm talking about. One guy actually questioned my integrity, which kind of did get to me, and I had to reply. And typically I don't really engage, but you know, when you think about all the hundreds and thousands of positive comments that you get, I've been pretty lucky. There was one occasion though where I got, and not just me, a few other reviewers got tangled up in this whole just crazy ranting sort of videos. There was a guy called, I don't know if he's still around, Del Bottom Note. Some of you might be fans of him. I think it's fair to say I'm not really his biggest fan. He kind of got upset by one absolutely like harmless comment that I made. He went off on a crazy rant. Other reviewers were involved. I had to do a response video because I just had to like clear things up, you know. You know, I've never acted in a negative way towards people. I've always acted with integrity and respect. So to get involved in some bullshit like that was kind of annoying, but you get over it after a while. That video is actually private now, so anyway. But you know, you see other people get embroiled in things, and it turns personal, and things spill over onto like Facebook and other social media stuff, and it's so unnecessary. And I kind of feel like this fragrance community does attract those types of people, and there's a lot of also sensitive people in the fragrance community as well. When I say fragrance community, I mean like YouTube and online social media, Instagram, Fragrantica base notes. There's a lot of people who get worked up, you know. I think we need to have a little bit more maturity. And even some of my favorite reviewers, sometimes some things they say I don't always agree with. But on the whole, I've been quite blessed, you know, and touch wood, I've been kind of away from a lot of crazy people. So long may it continue. Maybe I'll be the first person to turn crazy, who knows. So, okay, so let's get a bit more current. Let's get a bit more in the present now, and let's talk about my views on where YouTube fragrance world is at the moment. There's a lot of reviewers out there, and I subscribe to a lot of people, but I also unsubscribe to a lot of people, or choose not to subscribe, because even though I'm a reviewer and I like to support people, I am also a sorry, I'm just gonna my laptop. I'm also a consumer, so I'm also a subscriber. So I don't want to be watching people who I don't really support. And there's a lot of content out there nowadays. I feel like it's certainly happened more over the past few years, where it's a little bit too slick for my liking. It's a little bit too commercialized. And you can be professional, but then there's professional and then there's annoyingly professional, like salesman professional. And I do find that there's a lot of content. There's a lot of repetition. The number of top 10 videos that come out, you know, I can't really do top 10 videos nowadays because I don't have a huge collection. You know, if I did a top 10, that would be like half my collection. So I don't have a problem with those videos, but when it becomes like you're really like scraping the bottom of the barrel to come up with ideas, you know, for top 10 scenarios, and when I see a channel where almost every video is a list, it does honestly put me off, because I feel like we should be coming out with more original content and talking about other fragrances, and some fragrances get recycled and talked about all the time. And you know, some people will push an agenda on people because they are sponsored or they're backed by a certain brand. And you know, when I see videos and people say these are my top 5 fragrances at the moment, and they all happen to be from brands, a brand or a company who is giving you free bottles, there's a lack of integrity there. And you know, you're not really telling your view on the top 5 at the moment. It's what's been pushed to you to put towards your viewers. And I feel like there are people out there who are really interested in fragrances. I feel like you can see it in their eyes, you can hear it in their voices. But sometimes people are more of a corporate, robotic almost kind of thing, and I don't like watching that. You know, the great thing about YouTube is that it's very visual, right? So I don't really read many blogs on fragrances, a few, but I like to watch people because you see the facial expressions and you see the enthusiasm and you see the maybe the the joy and also the disgust sometimes when people talk about fragrances. And I like that sort of more emotive or more emotional side of things, rather than here you go guys, I've been sent this by the brand, I'm going to talk about it, I'm going to only say positive things. And you know, I would like more people to actually say what's on their minds. Don't hold back. You know, I've got a few videos coming out on the brand of Clive Christian. They sent me stuff, and other reviewers too, and there are a couple of fragrances there which I really like. There's also going to be one which I really dislike, and I'm going to say why I dislike it. Why would I hold back, you know? There's no need for it. So that's the way it is at the moment. But I still think there are many really great reviewers out there, and it's largely positive, but you know, you see some things and you just gotta just ignore it. You just gotta ignore it. So, touching on, this video is going on for a long time, 20 minutes. We might be probably going over 30 minutes. I hope you guys are still awake. So I wanted to talk about subscriptions and views. So I'm very aware that my channel is not the biggest out there. I've been doing this for almost 8 years, as I've said, and you know, many people have said to me, your channel should be more, like you should have more subs and more views, and they see, like, can't believe it that I only have just over 3,000 subscribers. It's funny though, because when I tell people who are outside this whole world, like people in the real world, I'll call them, and I say, yeah, I've got a YouTube channel and you know, like just over 3K subscribers, they're like, wow, 3K. I'm like, it's not really that much, to be honest. There are people who have been doing this for a much shorter amount of time who have way more subscribers than I do. But you know what, for me, guys, I've never been in it for the subs and views. If I was, I would have ended this channel a long time ago, you know? When certain videos of mine don't get as many views as my other videos, there is a little bit in me that is like, oh, you know, I kind of would have liked that to have got more views, you know, if you're passionate about a fragrance. But it doesn't really bother me. It really is not a big deal. This is not a job. I have no contract. I'm not here to earn my living off YouTube, you know. This is just, I'm literally just a guy who likes fragrances, and now and again I might turn on the camera and tell you guys about, talk about it and tell you guys about my thoughts. You know, I'm not chasing, it's not a race to the top. I'm not chasing the glory, you know. I do it because I'm interested in fragrances, and I like sharing my views with others, and I like hearing other people's views, whether it be other reviewers or people who comment. And that's really what drives me to do this, you know. And when I hear people and they say, oh guys, my last video didn't get many views and I was so disheartened and I was so sad, I'm like, why are you in this? You know, just to rack up numbers and earn AdSense revenue? Or do you just want to just get your content out there and let it be out there? Whatever the YouTube algorithm does is up to YouTube. If people aren't particularly interested in that fragrance, you're just not going to get the views. Deal with it, you know. I know today, if I went out and bought a bunch of designer fragrances and I did top 10 complimented, top 10 designer, I got some really hot girls on this channel and they were like, yeah, I like it. No, I don't like it. I'm gonna get views, you know, but it's too shallow for me. I like reviewers, and I like myself delving into it, getting deep into a fragrance and trying out interesting stuff and things that I'm interested in. I'm not just gonna talk about stuff that I have no interest in. So yeah, for me, it's never been about the subs, and I feel like I know what I need to do to get more subscribers and maybe talk about more designer fragrances and do more top 10 lists and stuff like that, more haul videos, but I'm not buying as much nowadays, so why would I just buy stuff just to do a haul video? I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to spend my money in that way. I, could be more consistent, and I think maybe that's something that has held me back, and it's difficult to be consistent on YouTube, These guys who come out with a schedule of like 3 videos a week, I salute you guys. People who have been doing it consistently. It's really, really tough. It's really difficult, actually. But I feel sometimes, when you have this schedule where it becomes like a job, I feel like some people can become quite jaded and resentful of doing YouTube. So I think you got to find that balance, really. So yeah, I have filmed a few videos today, and I'm going to be filming a few more videos. So the next month or so, or a couple of months, you are actually going to be seeing consistent video from me. So hopefully that will help the channel. And of course, I want my channel to grow. I'm not going to say I'm not bothered at all. It's always nice, it's more of an ego boost, if anything. But I feel like some people need their egos massaging more than other people. So finally, why do I do this then? If I'm not getting big numbers, I get a check from Google now and again, like twice a year, once a year, twice a year. I don't earn like big money of this. It's always nice to get that little email saying you've got a little bit of money from Google. So why do I do it? Why do I bother? Why do I set up the camera and the microphone and the light and the laptop? And I don't do any editing. I could do more editing maybe. But why do I do this? I do it because I'm just passionate about fragrances. And that's it, really. That really, really is at the core of my channel. I'm just into this, and I really, really enjoy it. And I like sharing my views with other people, and it's exciting, getting a fragrance, trying to break it down, especially when you love it. So that's it. It's passion. And you either have it or you don't. You can't fake it. And if you do try to fake it, you'll eventually get found out. As simple as that. So what does the future hold for my channel? Well, I don't have any grand plans. This is not like not a job. I'm just going to try and be consistent. I've got some interesting videos. I'm going to be talking about some Clive Christian videos. I've got some Guerlain reviews, some Roger Parfum reviews. I've got some samples of some unknown brands to me, like Frank Muller, like Fragrance du Bois, like Ranier J. I've got some Ranier J samples to talk about. I've got some fragrances that I've bought, so I'm going to do a haul video, an unboxing video as well. I actually just recently filmed a haul video. I filmed it last night, actually. So I'm going to release that fairly soon. I've also bought some new fragrances, which I'll then do another haul video a little bit later on. So yeah, I'm just going to think about it, really. What else have I got in the pipeline? I don't know. I've actually uploaded a few already to YouTube, but they're private. So let me just have a quick look at what I've got in store for you guys if you're interested. I've uploaded a few videos which will be coming out soon. Oh yeah, I've got a Tom Ford review, Aqua de Palma coming up later on. Got some Frederic Malle stuff to talk about. Going to be talking about some the latest Bulgari fragrance, the latest Bottega Veneta. And yeah, I think that Parfum de Mali, yeah, I've actually been filming a lot of videos over the past few days, and I've got a few more to do, actually. So definitely some stuff to come out. So guys, this is going to hit 30 minutes. This is a long video. Just some things I wanted to say. I've been doing this for a long time, and it's always nice to just have a more conversational style video. So let me know your thoughts, guys. Have you been around since the start? Are you a subscriber just recently? What do you think about the things that I've said? Specifically certain reviewers who I've given a shout out to, the way things are in the fragrance community, fragrances that you've picked up recently, or brands that you've tried. that you're really sort of enjoying. As you know, as I always say, whatever you have to say it. If you like what you see, hit the like button and subscribe, and check me out on Instagram as well. And I'll see you on the next one, which will be soon. Take care. Bye.